I believe one of the most powerful things that we can do to make an impact in somebody else's life is to share our own personal story. The reality is every one of us has a story. Mine began as a progressive one. I wish I could say I had a moment where I saw a bright light, or maybe after a night of drugs and alcohol abuse, I heard the audible voice of God and completely turned my life around. But that's not how it happened. I grew up Catholic, and my view of God was that He was a far-off God, that I had to work hard to please Him, and every time that I failed, I felt like I had really let Him down. And it was an endless cycle of one that was probably unhealthy for me and didn't develop me in faith. As I progressed in faith and just through life, I realized that God did want a personal relationship with me. And so I began to pursue that, and I did invite Him into my heart, but I have to say that even with the invitation for Him to come into my heart, I wasn't fully committed to live for Him. There was a night that my wife and I went to a rafting trip with some family and friends. And this night is memorable to me because, well, to make a long story short, there was a fight, and there was a lie to cover it up, and there was a whole lot of shame that followed. And the reality is I hurt a lot of people that were important to me, and so I made a decision I didn't want to live that life anymore. But that decision was pushed along by a letter that my wife wrote me. And you would think that it was a letter of condemnation, or maybe one that said, hey, clean up your act or I'm out of here. But instead it was a love letter filled with God's grace. And she told me that she saw a man with so much potential, so many giftings, and God's design all over my life. But she saw that I had one foot in this world and another foot in my faith. And those words were so cutting to me because I realized that I didn't want to live that life. And so I began going full steam ahead with both feet into my faith and understanding who God was and what His design was for my life. Never regretted that decision because I believed that I truly understood what peace meant when I began that journey. In 2019, my wife and I joined the staff here at Celebration, and we're so excited and optimistic about the future. We see so much promise, and we want to make the biggest impact that we can. We have found this community to be such a loving community, very welcoming and easy to become a part. Our hope is that in our time here, as God leads the way, that we'll continue to invest and help build the kingdom of God so that other people's story will be like mine, that we were once lost and now we've been found. God is so faithful, and I can't wait to see what He's going to do in the time ahead. This is my story.